Your old photographs, the first thing you're going to do is take a look at your photograph and decide what the major problems are. So in this particular image, the first thing that's wrong is that we have a whole bunch of dust spots that we want to get rid of. So the first thing we're going to do is do Command J on our keyboard. I'm going to rename this Dust and Scratches. And all we're going to do is we're going to use a filter to get rid of this. We're going to go up to Filter, Noise, Dust and Scratches. Now what this filter does is it does blur your photograph, so just be aware of that. So you want to set it up so that the scratches go away and the dust, you can see the preview, goes away. You can do this as much or as little as you would like, but remember it just makes it blurry. So once you're happy, you're going to click OK. I'm then going to use my spot healing brush tool to get rid of anything that is remaining. But what I also notice is that her face is not as crisp as I would like it, so I'm going to add a layer mask. And I'm going to paint with black to bring back the detail that I'd like, while remaining the background as it is without the scratches. Okay, simple, simple. Okay, let's go to the next one. So, a day at the beach. So, the first thing you're going to do, what's wrong with it? Corners and the color. So, let's Command J. And I'm going to take my clone stamp tool. And I'm going to fill in my corners. I'm not going to do the whole thing for time's sake, but you would fill in the rest of the corners and do any retouching that you need. But you also realize that the color is not correct either because of the fading. Let's choose our color balance option. Notice it's a little bit too red, so we're going to add some cyan. But as I'm adding the cyan, I realize now it's a little bit too yellow, so I'm going to add a little bit of blue. And remember, you just want to add it until the colors begin to look normal. And you can see by using this little eyeball button how much better it looks. And there you have a very well edited photograph. Last but not least, start to finish, we have this photograph. One of the things you might want to do is crop it to a 5x7 so that you would be able to put it into one of the photo frames that we have to give back to the person who gave you the photograph. Just cropping it to a 5x7. It's okay if you crop some parts out, even the white border, we can always add that white border back in. Now I'm going to make a duplicate layer and title it Retouched Cracks. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the color problem, which is it needs to be black and white. So I'm going to use my black and white filter. I'm also going to use the little hand. And I'm going to fix the contrast a little bit just by making the background a little bit darker. You can see that looks better. I'm going to go back to Retouch Cracks, and I'm going to take the time to get rid of some of the cracks. I would recommend using the clone stamp tool, spot healing brush tool. Use a little bit of everything. But one of the things that you can do is you want to use the information that's already in your photograph. It will make life better other than just letting it blend with something else. So for instance, here in his hat, we can clone his hat with the shadow to get rid of the crease that's there. I'm going to use the brim of the hat to paint over there. I'm just doing a little bit at a time. Use the hat. Be over here. Now, say we're going over to his leg. You want to use the information that's already there. I'm just going to add in pieces of his leg and use some of this area to make it go away. And then once you have all of your cracks gone, what we can then do if you want is add some color. So I'm going to add a blank layer. I'm going to title this color. You're going to put above your layer stack so that it doesn't stay black and white. I'm going to pick up my brush tool. I'm going to use, I'll use red for now. And all you're going to do is paint right over top of the hat, I would make a semi-fuzzy brush, maybe 80% hardness. So it's not too crisp, but it's not too fuzzy either. You can use any colors you want. I'm going to change my blend mode to color. And because it's way too bright, we just want a tint, I'm just going to drop down my opacity to 20% or less. I'm going to recommend that for every color you use, that you use a separate layer. So I'm going to title this one Blue, or Tie, because I'm going to paint the tie. And you can do this any way that you want, but I recommend that you do a separate layer because certain colors are darker than others. And you may want one of them a little bit lighter than some of your other layers. If you put them all at one, you're stuck with them all in the same one and all of the same opacity. Change this to color. Drop down my opacity so it's tinted. From here, you could always go back in and use your eraser to touch up any areas that don't look right. And there you would have your tinted photograph after you do any of your restoration. I'm going to recommend that you make a duplicate layer every time you do a couple cracks, make another layer so that you have plenty of time to go back or plenty of options to go back if you need to. Other than that, that's your photo restoration. You can get started on yours.